Welcome to Kelly Tries to Film a YouTube Video. Take 3. Okay, let's do this. We have a lot of books to talk about. Hi everyone! I am so excited to be sitting down and filming this video for you. We are doing the mid-year Freakout tag. I love watching book tag videos. It really helps, you know, add to the TBR, get good recommendations. I love seeing who the book people, you know, who I subscribe to on YouTube. I love seeing what they're reading, what they're loving. And I thought this would be a really chill video to sit down and film. We can talk about some of my favorite books of the year so far. So far in 2022, I have read over 145 books. I think I'm at 146. I read / listen to books on audio. That is why I read so much, because it's really audiobooks. I love listening to audiobooks. They're my world. Oh, also spoiler alert, of course I'm going to have multiple books for some of the answers to these questions, because again, I've literally read so many books. It's very hard for me to pick like one book as an answer per question. Like for example, with question 1, which is the best book you've read so far in 2022. So the first one is the Kiss Quotient by Helen Hoang. I listened to this on audio, even though I've owned the physical copy for a very long time. I adored this book. This is a romance between Stella and Michael. Stella is on like the autism spectrum and she has had trouble dating, but she's also incredibly intelligent. She works, I think, something with like data. So she's very smart, she's very successful, but when it comes to her love life, she doesn't think she's the strongest in that department. So she actually hires Michael, who is a male escort, to teach her about sex and all of that. And they just have this beautiful relationship. This book is so heartfelt and funny and charming. I just feel like you can't not love this book. I thought it was absolutely adorable. I feel like if you love romance books, you love rom-coms with actually a great amount of spice. This book has some great spice in it. You definitely need to pick this up, and I cannot wait to read more by Helen Hoang in the year. And the next book I also listened to on audio, but it actually just came out in paperback, so I'm so excited to have a physical copy. This is 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. This is a second chance romance between two authors who actually literally spent a week together when they were younger, but then circumstances, which I will not spoil, kind of drifted them apart. But then they reunite when they're adults and both successful authors. And I don't want to spoil too much, but again, it's a second chance romance. This book is definitely very heartfelt, very powerful. This book is so gorgeously written. Like literally from the first chapter, I was like, oh, this is a fantastic book. Like Tia Williams' voice is just so beautiful and strong, and this book had me like tearing up at the end of it. I just thought it was so gorgeous. It's so beautiful. Like again, I have no problem recommending this book to anyone who loves romances, because I feel like you can't not like it, because it's such a beautiful book. Like another book where if you like romances and you haven't read this, what are you doing? This is a flawless book in my opinion, and it's just a must read, and it's literally one of the best romance books that I've ever read. The last book I'm going to talk about as the best book of the year so far is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I mean, another book that like right off the bat, because I thought it was so well written and I love the story so much, I was like, this is the best, literally the best. I mean, Taylor Jenkins Reid has never failed me. This is a standalone book, but it is connected to Daisy Jones and the Six and Evelyn Hugo because it follows Mick Riva. This is the story about you get flashbacks to his relationship in the past with the mother of his children. So you follow the children in the present day, and then you get flashbacks to his relationship, you know, with the children's mother. I thought this book was so good. I love books about families and family dynamics, you know, especially one with a lot of drama. This has that. I just love this book. I think all of the characters were super strong and really interesting. I was genuinely interested in both parts, the part that took place in present day and the part that took place in the past. I thought both parts were just, I was obsessed. I really love this book. I think it's beautiful. Taylor Jenkins Reid, she never fails me, okay? She's never gonna fail me. Let's see what the next question is. Oh, the best sequel you've read so far in 2022. This one was actually a very easy one for me to figure out. I have that baby right here. that is Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher. This is the sequel to The Fine Print, the second book in her Dreamland Billionaire series. It's not technically essential to read The Fine Print before this book, but basically this series that Lauren Asher is working on, it follows a different brother. So this is Declan and Iris's story. Like, again, it's totally focused on the couple dual POV that, you know, the story is about, but you do get spoilers for the first book in the series, The Fine Print. So I would suggest reading it before this one. Fine Print I also gave 5 stars, but this one was just amazing. So the point of this Dreamland Billionaire series is that each brother is left with a specific task that they must complete by their deceased grandfather, because basically the family owns like the equivalent of Disney. So each brother wants to get a certain position or something, you know, in the company, and the grandfather's like, well, to get that you have to complete this task. Declan is trying to be CEO, and he cannot have that happen until he marries someone and actually produces like an heir, like literally has a child. That is what his grandfather left for him. The book starts with him actually about to get engaged to someone else that Iris sets up, but then that plan falls through, and then Iris is like, fine, well, I've known you for like, I don't know, 2 years or something, however long she's been his assistant, I'll just marry you. And then from there, again, it's a marriage of convenience, which is one of my favorite tropes of all time. It hits the spot every single time. I just ate this book up. It's also a slow burn romance as well, but and it's Grumpy Sunshine, but Declan was just, when he showed that he cared about Iris and like his jealousy and everything, I just was like, this book had me screeching. I was tingling, I was swooning. I'll never be over this book. I loved it so much. Declan and Iris are one of my favorite couples of all time. Book 3 in this series is one of my most anticipated books. I don't know when it's coming out. I know Lauren is currently writing it, I believe. And this book, it's just everything, guys. And let me tell you, I flew through it, especially like the last half of it. It was just so good. It's so good. I want to reread this book right now. That's how much I love it. Question 3 says, new release you haven't read yet but want to. This is a very easy question. Definitely Give Me More by Sarah Kate. I have this on my Kindle currently. This book did very recently come out. It actually came out the day before my birthday. My birthday is June 17th. This book came out on June 16th. I love the first 2 books, Praise and Eyes on Me, in the Salacious Players Club series that she has. This book is actually an MMF, which I'm so excited about. It follows a married couple and then like the best friend. I also think they go on like a road trip, from what I've seen from people who have read it already and like people who got arcs of it. I think that's what happens also, and I'm just very excited. Sarah Kate writes some of the best spice I've ever read, and I read a lot of spice, but Sarah Kate also does a great job at writing, you know, very great spicy scenes and books, but also her books have a lot of heart in it, and I feel like she just balances, you know, plots and characters that struggle with things, you know, that like pull on your heartstrings, while also incorporating excellent spice. Like, she has a gift. I love her. She's wonderful, and I'm very, very excited to get into this book. I think I'm going to love it. Okay, then question 4, such an easy question. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. So obviously The American Roommate Experiment by Elena Armas. The Spanish Love Deception is one of my favorite books of all time. Elena Armas is actually a very special author to me. We are mutuals on TikTok and Instagram, and she's definitely the author whose DMs I am in the most. She is the nicest person in the entire world, but I was obsessed with The Spanish Love Deception before I ever interacted with her, so her just being someone who I talk with is a bonus. I will know no peace until this book is in my hands, but this follows Rosie and Lucas, who are introduced in The Spanish Love Deception. Again, it's a total standalone, but it follows characters who are mentioned in The Spanish Love Deception. Lucas is Lena's cousin, and Rosie is Lena's best friend. So I'm just so excited for this. I'm so excited. Elena knows how excited I am for it, and I just know that it's gonna be incredible. Then question 5 says the biggest disappointment. This was also a very easy one for me to pick. because it is unfortunately Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney. I went into this book thinking it was going to be 5 stars because I did give Conversations with Friends and Normal People by Sally Rooney 5 stars, but I tried to listen to this book on audio and I literally DNF'd it at 70%. I don't think I've ever DNF'd a book where I got that far into it. I just could not get into this book at all. It did not capture my attention like Normal People and Conversations with Friends did. I couldn't even tell you what this book is about, except it's about like a messy friend group of like people hooking up with each other. I mean, like, listen, I was like, sign me up, because Sally Rooney just writes these messy relationships. Her books are very character driven. They are not like really plot driven. It's more of just about like dialogue and the characters' interactions with each other. I was just like bored and uninterested. So unfortunately, this is my biggest disappointment. I still consider her to be one of my favorite authors because of Normal People and Conversations with Friends, but this one just missed the mark and I'm really upset about it, but we will come back to it one day. Then the next question that we have is the biggest surprise, and this one actually applies to books that I literally just finished, so I have very fresh thoughts on them. But I'm gonna go with, oh sorry, they have a Barnes & Noble receipt because I just bought the physical copy of one of these books. I'm gonna go with The Doctor and the Pool Boy by Nikki Sloan. I'm currently finishing up my Nikki Sloan marathon on TikTok and Instagram. I do them monthly where I binge read books from one author. This way I get a taste for their work and I can just, you know, give you guys a lot of recommendations. So Nikki Sloan is an author who has been on my radar for a very long time. I just did not read anything by them, and I have the whole Nashville Neighbors series, so The Doctor, The Pool Boy, and I'm currently reading The Architect, so I can't speak for that. But these books, I was so shocked by like how much I love them. I gave them 5 stars. I mean, listen, I expected to enjoy them because I knew that they were spicy books, but Nikki Sloan like did what she had to do with these books. I thought they were so good. I mean, this one is ex-boyfriend's dad, heavy age gap. I feel like no one told me this because I would have read this book sooner, because that's literally my favorite thing to read about are heavy age gaps. So I love this book. I mean, does this book actually have a very strong plot? No, it really is just a lot of spice. So if you want a short, quick, spicy read, pick this up. I just, again, was so shocked by how good the spice was and how much I like loved it. But then definitely I feel like an even bigger surprise is The Pool Boy. This one is a reverse age gap, so she is the older one, he is younger. This one actually has a mix of plot and spice. I think she saw criticism from this book of people thinking that it lacked like any substance, so she did put a little bit more substance into this book, and I just loved what our character was going through. It's about a woman who recently is getting divorced after she catches her husband cheating on her, and then she starts hooking up with the pool boy who is also her best friend's son. She's in her 40s, he's 24, and I mean, I love a reverse age gap. I haven't read that many, but I will say I love a reverse age gap. I loved the incorporation of music into this book because she's actually like I don't know if she's like a talent scout, something with music. I just felt like this book it's so good. Like, I gave it 5 stars. I was so surprised. Like, this for sure is the biggest surprise. Like, I would have thought this book would have been like maybe a 4-star or something, but I really think the great mix of the super interesting plot with the great spice just makes it a 5-star, and I feel like this book is criminally underrated. I hope I'm explaining this book well. This one is so good. It's so underrated. Everyone read The Pool Boy. See, this next question is really hard because it's favorite new author, debut, or new to you. I am gonna go with probably Gianna Darling, because I read all of the Fallen Men series, and I read the first book in her like mafia duet, When Heroes Fall, and I love that. And I mean, Fallen Men is like a 6-book series right now. 7th book is coming out hopefully soon. I ate them up. I love them so much. I think her writing style is just completely for me, and the relationships that she writes, again, all for me. So I'm so excited that I finally got to read slash listen to, because I listened to actually all of Fallen Men on audio. They are incredible audiobooks, like literally some of the best audiobooks, and I'm just obsessed with her. Okay, I love I love me some Gianna darling. She's also so nice. I've messaged her on Instagram and she's literally lovely. So definitely Gianna. I'm excited to read even more of her backlist and the new Fallen Men book that's coming out. But you know, again, I'm so excited I picked up her work because I'm really vibing with it. Funny that we're here with Welcome to the Dark Side by her. I picked this book up because it's my favorite book by her. Then the question is newest fictional crush. I mean Daddy Zeus. Daddy Zeus from Welcome to the Dark Side. This is a heavy age gap motorcycle club, like taboo-ish romance. There's a lot of action in here, but this book also has a lot of heart. It follows Lulu and Zeus. Zeus actually saves Lulu when she was younger from being shot. Like there's this like shootout in the street. He saves her. He's like in his 20s at the time. He ends up going to jail, and she, as a young girl, they write each other letters in prison. And then she ends up like having cancer. Like this is one of the books where I feel like if you describe the plot to someone, they'd be like, what the fuck? But understand it has a lot of heart and some excellent spice, and just the relationship in it. I felt so seen reading this book. Gianna wrote this book for me. I recommended this book any chance I get as a heavy age gap taboo romance. This is a comfort book for me, and Zeus Garrow is the one. The number one daddy. I just love him so much. I can't even. We must stop talking about this. And then one more fictional crush. I feel like you also, if you follow me on TikTok and Instagram, you saw this coming. How could I not talk about Benedict Bridgerton? This is Bridgerton Book 3, An Offer from a Gentleman. I'm a changed woman. I'm a changed woman. I did listen to all of the Bridgerton books this year, and you could say I'm a little obsessed. You could say I'm obsessed. Benedict's book by far is miles above the other ones in my opinion. Reading this book, I've never swooned so hard. I've never wanted to be a fictional character more than Sophie. I'm obsessed with Benedict Bridgerton. He is my beloved. Actually, book Benedict and show Benedict are actually quite different. Like I feel like book Benedict is a little bit more alpha and a little bit like, I don't know, people actually have mixed feelings about how he's portrayed in the books. They don't think he treats Sophie the best, but like I like grumpy heroes and like stuff like that, so that's why I kind of ate it up. And like show Benedict is very like cinnamon roll. But I'm excited to see how he develops even more on the show. I'm obsessed with him on the show, but the book Book Benedict has my heart forever. I always say, I will end with what I always say on TikTok. Remember, Benedict Bridgerton is mine and not yours. Okay, we are almost done. I love this next question because it says, new fave character. This was a very easy one for me as well, where obviously I'm gonna go with Lana from the Mindfuck series by St. Abby. This is a dark romance series. I actually have the edition where it's all 5 books in one because they are shorter books. They're like 100 and something pages each. This series follows a serial killer and an FBI agent who fall in love. So our girl Lana is looking for revenge after she goes through something very traumatic when she was younger. Please understand this book is very dark. Please look up trigger warnings. There's a lot that happens in this book series. Again, it is very dark. It is very heavy. Please do your research. I'm obsessed with it. It's some of my favorite shit that I've literally ever read in my life. I cried also as well in the last book. I love Lana and Logan so much. They are both, you know, like loves of my life. I have crushes on both of them, but Lana is just one of my favorite fictional characters of all time, and people who read the book feel the same way, like who read the series. They just love her because she is so strong and so smart, and you literally root for a serial killer. Like, it's brilliant. I just think that this book series is truly so unique, so smart, so entertaining. I think you'll finish them really quickly. I wish I could reread this again and experience it for the first time. Amazing, 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 amazing. And then we have books that made you cry. I have 2 answers for this one. Actually not a big crier when it comes to books. Like sometimes I get a little misty, but like I don't really cry at books that much. But I do have 2 answers of very memorable cries. I mean, I know I just said I cried at the Mindfuck series as well. I did. But Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan, this woman. This book is a beautiful romance between Archer and Bree. Bree is new in town. Archer is like the town grump. He also is a mute. He does not speak because of an accident that he was in, but Bree actually knows sign language because her dad is deaf, so they can communicate that way, and it's just a beautiful romance. Like, listening to this on audio, I was a mess. I just loved everything that was going on. Archer is he was so sweet and protective of her, but she was also protective of him. I just thought they had such a beautiful relationship. Like, I stand by that this is one of the most beautiful love stories that I personally have ever read. I just was so moved by it, and I did cry a little bit towards the end there. It does have a happy ending, so don't worry about that. It's not like a tragedy or anything. It just has some heartfelt moments in it, and I adore this book with my whole heart. And then for the book that made me have the biggest meltdown so far this year, and it's not even a book that is sad, but One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. Never forget the biggest cry of the year. Like, I listened to this on audio actually, and the whole last 30% of the book, probably 20-ish, 30%, I was weeping because I've never needed two characters to get together more in my entire life. I was just so overwhelmed with emotion. I couldn't stop crying. Like, I'm not kidding you. It was crazy. I've never experienced anything like that reading a book. And this book follows August and Jane. August is new to NYC. She's taking the subway one day to work. She sees this really cool girl, Jane. She's got her headphones on and they're talking. And we then find out that Jane actually is from the 70s, but she is stuck on the subway and she can't get off the subway. So it's like August sees her, you know, every day, and they develop this friendship by talking and everything. And we just realize that Jane can't get off the train. So August and her amazing friends try to hatch a plan eventually to get Jane off the train, and just the relationship between them and blah blah blah. Like, you can expect what happens. But basically, again, at the end of this book, I was like, if she doesn't get off this train, I'm literally gonna send Casey McQuiston a letter for emotional distress. I will not spoil it, but again, it's a happy book. This is not a book that's gonna, you know, emotionally traumatize you. I was just so obsessed with their relationship. Just something about the relationship between August and Jane I was so obsessed with. They are my babies. This is one of my favorite books of all time. I will defend this book until the day I die. It is everything to me. Truly, I couldn't recommend this book enough. Please read it. If there's one thing you can get out of this video, it's read my baby. This is my baby. Okay, then we're at the last two questions. How exciting. So the next question is the most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received. I have two answers for this as well, and I did purchase both of these books for myself. So I did not receive any pretty books. I just bought them for myself because, you know, treat yourself. So the first one is this special Target exclusive edition of the Viscount, there we go, Who Loved Me, book 2 in the Bridgerton series by Julia Quinn. I mean, look at Anthony and Kate on the front. I love the purple. It's a big hardcover edition. It is just so pretty. I'm obsessed. I just saw someone post this in a TikTok and I was like, I need to own that. So I literally ran to Target to get it. I love it. I love the purple. Again, I love pink and purple, and I just think it's so cute. Let's just keep the Casey McQuiston love going. The Barnes & Noble exclusive edition of I Kiss Chara Wheeler. Are you kidding me? I mean, if I was a book, I would look like this. The purple, the pink, oh my god, it is so, look at that, the inside, it is so gorgeous. I'm obsessed with this. I did not realize that there was going to be a Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. I mean, I like the original version that is green and pink, but when I saw this, you know, lilac situation, pastel, lavender, I was like, give it to me now. Give it to me now. But yeah, I mean, I love this book. I listened to it on audio. I thought it was really cute. It is a YA book. I'm not the biggest YA person anymore, but in typical Casey McQuiston fashion, it had really great, you know, characters and character development, and I thought this book was very sweet and heartwarming, and I would totally recommend it. And again, this is just, it's so pretty. I'll never be over how pretty this book is. It will always stay on my shelf. And we did it. The last question. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? at first I was like, wow, there's so many books that I need to read by the end of the year. But then I thought I would pull books that I've literally owned for so long, literally well over a year, probably even 2 years, that are really popular, that I haven't read yet, that I must. I've talked about them on TikTok and people are like, oh, you should read them, and then I don't talk about them for a while so people forget. So the first one is Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I have no doubt that I'm gonna like this book because I love a Greek mythology retelling. I love a Greek mythology moment. Everyone loves this book, you know, it makes them cry and all of that. I mean, am I expecting to cry over it? I mean, I hope so. That would be great. I hope that this book and this story really moves me like it does for everyone else, but we'll see. I'm excited to check out Madeline Miller's writing. This is how big my book collection is. I actually also think I impulse bought Circe as well without even reading anything by her. So I hope I really click with her writing. I have a lot of friends who are absolutely obsessed with her work and everything, so hopefully this works out and I end up loving this book. I think I will. I think I will enjoy it. Another book that I also have so many friends that love, and actually literally my friends in real life. I have 2 of my really good friends who have read it and they love it, not just like book friends, you know what I mean? And it's The Invisible Life of Addy LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I have never read anything by V.E. Schwab. Again, I know this is another very, very popular author, but yeah, this is a fantasy romance situation about a girl. I think it also has to do with, like, it's not time traveling, but I know this girl makes a deal with the devil, and she can live forever or something, and then anytime she enters a room, the people who she meets, they like forget her when she leaves. I'm quite positive that's what happens, and then one day she meets a guy who remembers her. I'm quite positive that that's what happens in the book. I haven't really heard about it in a while, but I think that's what it is. I mean, I hope I really like this. I have heard mixed things. I feel like people, again, either really love this or they hate this, but I really like the concept of it, and I hope that I enjoy it. All right, so that was it. We did it. The mid-year freakout tag. I hope you got some great book recommendations. Let me know what your favorite books of the year so far have been. I truly would love to know. I love adding to my ever-growing TBR. I thought this was so much fun. But yeah, you can follow me on any of my social medias that will be linked below if you would like, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!